mechanical things that we need to solve, like the airbag light, and there's one more thing which I'll show you guys towards the end of the video.
What happens when a passionate rebuild meets a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse protecting its empire? Matt Armstrong, known for turning scrap into masterpieces, recently found himself overwhelmed, not by a broken engine, but by a staggering $19.2 million lawsuit from Bugatti. This legal blow threatens not only his career, but raises urgent questions about the boundaries of ownership and corporate control over hypercars. Why is one of the car world's most beloved figures now fighting his toughest battle yet? The answer is as complex as the machines he rebuilds. The lawsuit shocker. The automotive world was rocked when news broke that Bugatti had filed a staggering $19.2 million lawsuit against Matt Armstrong. Known for his relentless passion and skill in resurrecting wrecked hypercars, Matt suddenly found himself at the center of a legal storm. This wasn't just about bolts or engines anymore. It was a high-stakes corporate clash, pitting one man's grit against a multi-billion-dollar brand fiercely guarding its empire. The sheer size of the lawsuit sent shockwaves far beyond car enthusiasts, hinting at deeper tensions in the evolving landscape of automotive ownership and control. Matt Armstrong, usually full of smiles and energy, was seen in tears, an image that underscored the personal toll this corporate battle was taking. What started as a project fueled by passion has spiraled into a fight with the potential to change how repair and ownership rights are understood in the hypercar world. The lawsuit raised immediate questions. Why would Bugatti pursue such an aggressive legal route? What legal arguments were they making to justify this massive claim? And how strongly did it threaten not only Matt's career, but the entire do-it-yourself rebuilding community? The lawsuit isn't just a reaction to a repair job gone wrong. It illustrates a broader struggle over who has the authority to control what happens to vehicles long after the purchase. Bugatti's claim hinges on protecting intellectual property, brand reputation, and safety standards. But critics argue it could be about maintaining exclusive control over the repair ecosystem. For Matt, who documents every wrench turn and setback publicly, this wasn't just a legal challenge. It felt like a fight for the freedom to fix what he legally owns. Legal analysts outside the case suggest that this lawsuit could redefine the boundaries of right to repair at an unprecedented level. It highlights the growing problem where manufacturers embed software and hardware restrictions that can effectively lock owners out of their cars post-sale. For independent mechanics, this lawsuit sends a frightful message. Even when you have the skills and determination to fix sophisticated machines, corporate powers might stand in your way with legal firepower much larger than a garage toolkit. Speculation about the reasons behind the lawsuit has been rampant. Some insiders believe Bugatti viewed Matt's public rebuilds not only as a risk to their proprietary technology, but as a threat to the aura of exclusivity that surrounds the brand. This exclusivity is a key pillar of Bugatti's multi-million-dollar image, and any challenge to that control strikes at the very heart of their business model. The lawsuit, then, becomes a weapon to enforce those boundaries rather than simply a matter of standard legal procedure. But to understand why this single lawsuit feels so monumental, we have to look back at the journey that led Matt from a child wrenching in his dad's garage to the man standing toe-to-toe with Bugatti's legal team. Matt Armstrong's rise. Before the world knew him as the master of automotive resurrection, Matt Armstrong was just a boy in Leicester, England, learning the trade from his father Tony in a family garage. Born in 1993, Matt's hands got grease-stained long before he even thought about becoming a YouTube phenomenon. Unlike many who study engines from books, Matt absorbed his knowledge through years of watching, helping, and diving hands first into mechanical challenges right alongside his dad. His early years weren't without hardship. Amid his parents' separation and the normal struggles of youth, Matt found solace and purpose in two passions: BMX riding and cars. He He excelled as a professional BMX athlete, competing across Europe and Dubai, and even snagged sponsorships, gaining early experience filming his stunts, a skill that would later become crucial in building his automotive brand. Yet, fate had another path for him. A severe shoulder injury at just 20 years old forced him to retire from BMX and pivot back to the garage. That injury could have closed the door on Matt's dreams, but instead, it became the catalyst for a meteoric rise. Turning his attention fully to cars, Matt began uploading videos in 2013, documenting the raw and unfiltered process of repairing wrecked vehicles. His authenticity set him apart. He wasn't a polished technician hiding failures, but a relatable guy who showed the blood, sweat, and setbacks involved in bringing cars back to life. One of his earliest breakthrough moments came after his girlfriend Hannah's Audi TT was badly damaged in a crash. While most would have cut losses, Matt saw opportunity in the salvage title and began meticulously documenting every step of the rebuild. That project wasn't simply about fixing a car, it laid the foundation for a global community and a brand known for high-stakes rebuilds that refused to quit, no matter the odds. Over the years, Matt's channel exploded, moving from modest cars to luxury and hypercars that most people wouldn't dare touch. His work ethic was relentless. Many nights were spent covered in engine oil, editing videos until dawn to maintain a steady stream of content that kept millions hooked. His ability to blend genuine storytelling with technical expertise earned him shout-outs from automotive heavyweights, further fueling his rise. As Matt's ambitions grew, so did the stakes. The next chapter in his story would pit him directly against Bugatti, a company known for its engineering masterpieces and equally fierce protection of its brand. The Bugatti Rebuild Challenge. In October 2025, Matt Armstrong's journey took a dramatic turn when he laid eyes on a totaled Bugatti Chiron Sport that had suffered a brutal crash in Miami. With an estimated repair bill of over $1.7 million, insurance labeled the car a write-off, condemning it to the scrap heap. But for Matt, this was the ultimate challenge, an opportunity to prove that even the most complex hypercars could be brought back to life outside factory walls. The state of the Chiron was daunting. The front end lay in ruin, crumpled carbon fiber, deployed airbags, shattered headlights, and bent panels. The iconic horseshoe grille, a symbol synonymous with Bugatti, was destroyed. The list of damaged components wasn't just long, it was nearly overwhelming, even for a billionaire. Yet, Matt was undeterred by the wreckage or the risks. Immediately, Bugatti's stance became clear and uncompromising. They refused not only to supply parts, but also took the extraordinary step of locking the car's vehicle identification number. This effectively barred any authorized dealership worldwide from selling Matt even the smallest bolt needed for repairs. The message was unambiguous. This rebuild would not be supported, no matter the effort or expertise. Matters escalated when Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac directly entered the fray on social media, publicly challenging Matt's claims. Rimac asserted that the work Matt proposed, including 3D printing parts, was unsafe and inflated in cost. An offer was extended to have the car brought to the company's facility in Molsheim, France, for inspection, but Matt stood firm. Returning the car risked it being stripped down at exorbitant cost, pushing it beyond economic repair. Facing closed doors, Matt turned to ingenuity and alternative solutions. His team sourced compatible airbags from an Audi A3 and crafted custom radiators to replace destroyed units. Rebuilding critical systems like coolant circulation, fuel delivery, intercoolers, and the ECU demanded creativity and perseverance. The fact the engine had been run without coolant after the crash only intensified the challenge, threatening irreversible damage. Against the odds, Matt's persistence paid off. The W16 engine, an engineering marvel in itself, roared back to life under his careful hands, a moment that resonated deeply with fans around the world. However, the journey was far from smooth. Rumors of structural cracks and transmission issues stirred anxiety. Viewers watched closely as Matt personally investigated and tackled these obstacles, dismantling the transmission modularly, all while the Bugatti CEO observed from a distance. Transitioning from the grit of Matt's personal and technical journey, we now look at how Bugatti, as an elite automotive empire, has shaped its response and legal strategy in this high-profile dispute. Bugatti's corporate response. Bugatti's approach to the Matt Armstrong rebuild was marked by a firm and resolute defense of its brand and intellectual property. The company made it clear from the start that it would not provide parts or technical support for the project, a move that sent a strong signal about the limits of independent repair. Bugatti even went as far as locking the vehicle identification number of the wrecked Chiron, effectively preventing any authorized dealer from selling parts necessary for its restoration. This tactic underscored the company's commitment to controlling access and maintaining the exclusivity of their machines. CEO Mate Remick personally stepped into the public eye, engaging directly on social media platforms to dispute Matt's claims regarding the rebuild. Remick challenged the use of 3D printing and other non-standard methods, labeling them unsafe and accusing Matt of inflating repair costs. Despite offering an inspection at Bugatti's Molsheim facility, the thorny issue was Matt's refusal to send the car back, fearing exorbitant dismantling costs and a spiraling price tag. This public back-and-forth emphasized how high the stakes were, turning a repair project into a viral clash of philosophies.
Rob basically asked the question, do I agree with how Mate or Bugatti as a brand?
Behind Bugatti's resistance lies a profound concern over brand protection and safety liabilities. The company maintains that their vehicles represent pinnacle engineering and that only authorized service centers with certified parts can ensure performance and safety standards. This position supports their reluctant stance on independent or DIY repairs, highlighting the potential dangers of unauthorized modifications or repairs that might compromise the vehicle's integrity at speeds exceeding 300 miles per hour. Their defense extends beyond business. It's a safeguard of reputation and driver safety. Bugatti's corporate strategy also entails legal muscle. Keeping a tight grip on proprietary technology and intellectual property is critical for their survival as the apex hypercar manufacturer. The $19.2 million lawsuit filed against Matt Armstrong not only seeks financial remedy, but serves as a warning to the broader community about overstepping company boundaries. This aggressive legal posture reflects a desire to deter future attempts that could threaten their control over post-sale vehicle servicing and modifications. The company's legal reasoning hinges on alleged violations related to modifying and repairing the car outside approved protocols, including potential breaches of intellectual property rights. Bugatti's position is that software, hardware, and technical know-how embedded in their vehicles are trade secrets. Any unauthorized access or reverse engineering could lead to safety issues and dilute the exclusivity that defines the brand. Their refusal to supply parts or support reflects this layered combination of business interests and legal rights. However, this rigid stance has drawn criticism. Many in the automotive and right-to-repair communities argue that Bugatti's control discourages innovation, stifles independent mechanics, and unfairly limits owners' rights to manage their property. The spotlight on Matt Armstrong's rebuild has amplified these debates, positioning the company not just as a manufacturer, but as a gatekeeper of what owners may or may not do with their supercars. The tension between corporate exclusivity and DIY freedom is a powerful undercurrent in this saga. Behind the formidable corporate armor lies a deeply personal story. As the legal pressures mount, the emotional toll on Matt Armstrong reveals the human side of this high-stakes conflict. The emotional toll. For a man known for his indefatigable spirit and infectious smile, the recent news has hit Matt Armstrong hard. The weight of Bugatti's $19.2 million lawsuit has visibly shaken him, with moments of vulnerability captured by the very cameras that once documented his triumphant rebuilds. This isn't just a financial threat, it's an emotional battlefield where stress, uncertainty, and public scrutiny collide. Matt's journey was never just about cars. It's about passion, family, and proving that perseverance can overcome insurmountable odds. Watching him in tears, viewers connect with the reality that even icons are human and susceptible to despair. The pressures of navigating a legal war while maintaining creative momentum have taken their toll, underscoring the personal sacrifices behind the scenes of viral success. Beyond the courtroom drama, Matt faces the challenge of preserving his brand's integrity and his audience's trust. His transparent storytelling style means viewers have grown to see him as an approachable friend, someone who shares not only victories but also setbacks. The lawsuit threatens to cast a shadow over this openness, forcing him to balance legal cautions with the authenticity that made him beloved. Adding to the strain is the uncertainty surrounding the lawsuit's resolution. Legal battles of this magnitude can drag on for years, draining financial resources and emotional stamina. For Matt, a creator and mechanic whose work thrives on momentum and engagement, any prolonged conflict risks derailing his career and passion simultaneously. This precarious position creates a conflict between fighting for principle and safeguarding personal well-being. The personal bonds that keep Matt going have gotten even more critical, really. His father, Tony, and his partner, Hannah Smith, don't show up just as family. They act like emotional anchors while the pressure keeps building. Their presence is a reminder for viewers that, beyond the headlines, Matt is still surrounded by love and support, a kind of proof of the tight-knit community he has built. And that matters because it creates a counterbalance to the harsher parts of corporate opposition. Even with the occasional slip into despair, Matt's resilience still shows. In interviews, he's talked about staying determined to push forward, no matter what obstacles pop up. He carries the same grit that rebuilt what looked impossible. That attitude brings hope, not only for him, but for a wider movement centered on repair freedom and new ideas within automotive culture. His fight feels bigger than one moment, like a symbol of independence when the odds are crushing. The emotional side also spreads outward to his audience. A lot of people seem personally invested in his struggle, like it hits close to home. Fans rally online with messages of encouragement, giving more than comfort. They share practical advice and solidarity. That shared momentum suggests Matt's story goes past a single legal conflict and instead taps into themes of empowerment and community in the digital age. The question now is how far this emotional and legal battle will go, and what it will mean not just for Matt Armstrong's legacy, but for the future of automotive repair and ownership. The bigger picture. Matt Armstrong's battle with Bugatti is more than a personal struggle. It embodies a seismic shift in how automotive ownership and repair rights are contested in the digital age. The stakes reach far beyond one car or one lawsuit. As vehicles become increasingly software-dependent, manufacturers wield unprecedented control over repairs, parts access, and even the ability to operate their own machines. Armstrong's fight exposes the tension between a consumer's right to maintain their property and manufacturers' efforts to protect intellectual property and brand exclusivity. This conflict taps into the growing global right-to-repair movement, which challenges restrictive practices limiting independent repairs. Until recently, car owners had broad freedoms to fix and modify their vehicles. But now embedded software and proprietary systems are reshaping those boundaries. Matt's story highlights the real-world consequences when access to digital tools and parts is denied, threatening to turn ownership into leasing under corporate terms. The result is a legal and ethical battleground with major implications for every vehicle owner. Automotive brands like Bugatti argue that their rigorous control safeguards safety and quality. Their machines balance on the knife's edge of engineering marvels, often capable of speeds exceeding 300 miles per hour. From their perspective, limiting parts and software access helps prevent unsafe repairs that could threaten lives and damage their hard-earned reputations. Yet, critics highlight that these restrictions often extend beyond safety concerns, serving instead to monopolize the after-sales market and suppress independent innovation. Matt Armstrong's case is kind of a catalyst for legal scrutiny in courts and regulatory bodies worldwide. Already, governments are revisiting laws on consumer rights and repair access. And in a way, it's not just small adjustments. The outcome of this legal confrontation could end up setting fresh precedents, spelling out what ownership actually means in an age where vehicles are connected and computerized. If corporations can keep on restricting repair access via software locks and exclusivity clauses, it might signal a real, fundamental shift away from the traditional ownership toward a more conditional, managed usage approach. But it's not only about garages and courtrooms either. This debate sticks with enthusiasts, independent mechanics, and everyday drivers who worry they'll lose autonomy over their vehicles, or at least have it quietly taken away. It brings up hard questions. Should an owner's legal purchase include unrestricted access to critical software and parts? Are manufacturers allowed to enforce digital roadblocks that nudge aside skilled independent repairs? Armstrong's high-profile struggle throws these issues into sharp focus, almost like a spotlight on a battle that affects millions, even if most people deal with it quietly. Also, social media and content creators like Matt add fuel to the conversation. By documenting the slow, painstaking process of rebuilding a machine that's effectively been industry forbidden, Matt turns private frustrations into public discourse. That visibility pressures manufacturers to defend their positions transparently, and it opens up public discussion on consumer rights in an industry that has often been wrapped up in exclusivity and opacity. Matt Armstrong's fight against Bugatti is more than a rebuild. It's a battle for control, ownership, and the future of automotive repair. As this story unfolds, it challenges us to reconsider what it means to truly own a car today. If you found this deep dive insightful, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories where passion meets the pressure of big industry. Thanks for watching.